Hello guys, today we're going to draw Nick Wilde from Zootopia. So let's start off with a circle. Keep it light, and that way we can go over the lines later. So once you have your circle drawn, doesn't have to be perfect, we're going to divide the circle in half. You're going to divide it vertically and you're going to divide it horizontally. This is going to give us an idea of where we're going to be placing the muzzle and the eyes and the eyebrow ridges. We draw another line on top of the middle section, like the middle line, the horizontal one, to give us an idea where the eyebrow ridges are going to go. After that, we're going to figure out how big we want the eyebrow ridges, eyebrow area, and the eyes. So this way I draw two lines to give me an idea of how wide I want the muzzle to be. And then the muzzle area, I try to keep all my lines pretty straight when I'm drawing the idea of what the muzzle is going to look like. So this one is going to end up looking pretty much like a stop sign. And this way I can sort of give myself an idea on where the sides of the muzzle are going to go, the bottom jaw and the other side of the muzzle. You'll see it makes a lot of sense once I start putting more pieces in. So right now it kind of looks like a mess, and we're going to keep everything kind of sharp at the moment. So we're going to start drawing the cheeks, and he has very triangular cheeks, so we're going to keep those very sharp. The lighter you draw, the easier it is to go over this stuff later, so try to keep the lines light. I'm going to draw a line on top of the head to create a forehead area, and I've kept it pretty flat even though it will be rounded out a little bit later. So everything that is a bit sharp at the moment gets rounded out later. So he has another cheek, and the other cheek is also triangular in shape and sharp, so we're going to do that as well. He has a neck, and most of the neck is pretty long, and he's got little sharp edges, so we're going to draw all the little bits that would have fur later. This tutorial we're only going to go over on how to draw his head. I will go over on how to draw the whole body later. So this character has relatively large eyes, but the actual eye area is a little bit smaller than where the eyebrow ridge area is going to go, because he's got another color around his eyes, and we're going to draw that area to give us an idea on how big the eye spheres should be. Because these characters are pretty expressive, usually the eyebrow area is pretty high up. Drawing the eyes, they're not perfect circles. He has more of an oval-like shape, and this way you can draw the eyelids a little bit later, but we're going to draw the eye ovals first. They don't have to be perfect. And then we're going to go over the nose. You can start off with a larger oval to get the idea of the nose shape, even though this character does have a little bit squarer nose, and we'll go over that later. But right now we want to get the basic lines down to give you an idea on how to construct this character. So we're zooming out now so we can create the ears. He has very triangular, thin ears, and they're on top of his head. You can tell the ears end about the middle section of his eye ovals, so don't make them go all the way down because his ears are pretty thin. So now we're going to zoom in and start doing a little bit more of the details. So he has a mouth, and we're going to divide the mouth of the line. It's a relatively simple line, and we want to keep the upper muzzle thicker than the bottom muzzle because this character has a very thin bottom muzzle. And we want a happy fox, so we're going to make him happy. And if you go over certain lines and you don't like them, you can go ahead and erase them. But right now we just have some construction lines. I went over something a little bit too thick in that area, so I just erased it and drew it over again. but don't worry so much about getting things perfect right now. So with these eyes, we want the eyelids to be sort of in the same plane. I draw a line where I want the eyelids to start and the bottom eye to begin as well. Because this character has kind of a sly look all the time, at least from what I can tell online, we're going to give him a sly look. So it looks like the Nick Wilde that we're all used to seeing online. Then he has pupils and irises, so we're going to give him the irises first, and then we're going to put in the pupil afterwards. The ears, very easy to just divide the ears where you want the back of the ear to be and the front of the ear, and then we're going to add the fluff that goes inside the ears later. He's got eyebrows, and you want to make sure you fill those in. You can fill those in later when we go over it with a darker color. The nose, remember as I was talking about that the nose wasn't very circular, he's got a little bit of a more squarish type nose. We're going over that and making sure the nose has more of a 3D look to it, and he's got a nostril. Going over a couple of lines that I did not like, and I redrew them to my liking. You can do the same, or you can draw them right from the first time. So the neck, he's got fluffies kind of all over the place, and we want to draw those in so the character has more of an organic feel, because right now he's very sharp. We're drawing in the division of color, since the character has 2 colors on the muzzle. And we're going over a couple of the features around the eyes because we want the eyelids on the top to be seen. So we went over that, and the same thing with the upper part of the muzzle. We want this to be seen more than it was before. So just go over the lines, just very simple lines. The color around his eyes is actually pretty predominant, so we're going to go over that and trace it over because we're going to color it in later. So the cheeks, we took down a little bit of that sharper area because we had created the fluffies. We divided the muzzle so it gives it more of a 3D look. And he's got a little bit of fluff inside the ears, and it's pretty much just like crazy little hairs all over the place. Going over the top part of the head to erase sort of the squarish look, and we rounded it up a little bit. Now we're adding a bit of his shirt, so it doesn't look like the head is just floating out of nowhere. So there we go, Mr. Nick is coming out looking pretty nice, looking sly. So we're taking the opacity down on the layer, and we've created a new layer, and we're going to go over and we're going to color, well, we're going to outline it first. I have these brushes that I will link, the ones that I'm using. I'm doing this all in Procreate on the iPad Pro using the Apple Pencil. And the brushes that I'm using are by an artist named Tara. I will link them in the description if you guys are interested in them. They're excellent. It makes drawing, painting, everything on the iPad Pro feel really, really amazing. So I want you guys to test those out. They are free, but I did not make them, and I will link the artist who actually did. So when we're going to do, what we're doing in this section is going over all the lines that were in red, and we are happy with the lines that we have, so we're going to go over them in black. You can go over them in any color. I just decided to just pick black to show you guys how it would look. We go over the eyebrows because he has distinct eyebrows. We want to color them in. We ended up coloring in the area where he would have a pupil because his eyes are not all one color. And just start adding all the details in. I keep a lot of this pretty sketchy still because I like that look. On the iPad Pro, you can make the lines a lot cleaner than I'm making them in here. This is more just to show. You can play with different line widths. The more you play with them, the more alive the the picture looks. It's more interesting than just keeping everything at just one line width. So that's why you'll see me get a little bit thicker on certain parts of the eyes or certain parts of the eyebrows compared to, let's say, the upper part of like the eyelid area might be a little bit thinner than the upper part of like the actual eye. So just keep following what I'm doing, going over your design to create everything that is on Nick. This is the closest I was able to get this character. This character is actually pretty complicated with how simple as he is, just because he is very distinct in the ways that he looks. And if you draw things that are slightly off, then the character just looks like a generic fox. I want to draw all the other characters to show you guys how to do them step by step, but this is my interpretation of Nick. I'm not saying it's perfect or even that close to it, but I think it's close enough to show you guys what a Nick made by me looks like. And hopefully it helps you guys. If you guys have any questions with the program that I'm using or the way that I'm inking anything or sketching or how I do things, anything at all, be sure to ask in the comments section. If you have any suggestions for future tutorials or certain characters that you want to see drawn, be sure to comment below as well. Since I'm going to be doing a couple of these, I'm going to try to do at least one of these every week or every 2 weeks. And I'm going over the lines to thicken up some lines just to make it a bit more interesting for everybody. The way the character looks a bit better this way. You can see that I can flip around the canvas, and this is something that Procreate allows me to do, and especially because I'm drawing on the iPad Pro. I can flip it around and it makes it really easy to draw. One thing I didn't go over was I drew 2 little white lines in the eyes. That way it gives the eyes more of a lively look. And I just did that with the brush. I just changed the color to white. You can do it with the eraser too. Right now I changed it over to another brush that this artist had made, Tara's brushes. And I'm just going over and coloring some of the areas that I want darker. He's got darker like eye color that goes all around his eye, so I wanted to color that in. You're welcome to do this too, or you can just stop at the actual sketching part and color it with actual colors for Nick. But I wanted to do this one in black and white just to keep it simple for you guys. Just keep coloring it in, adding some details, and making Nick look like Nick. I'm really excited for this movie. I haven't seen it yet. It hasn't come out in the States yet. It's coming out March 4th, so make sure you guys go see it. Actually, when you guys see the movie, be sure to comment in the section and tell me how you liked it, because I would love to talk to others about the movie when it actually comes out. So I hope this helped you guys. I hope you guys liked the Nick that I drew. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, anything that has to do with art tutorials, be sure to comment below. And as always, comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you guys later in the week. Bye!